Hello everyone, we are live. Welcome to my Wednesday night guitar lesson live. My name is Rob Reed, thank you for joining me. And we are getting into it tonight. This is all about beating your bar chords. We're taking these guys down. They drive us crazy. They've wreaked havoc on our lives. We're gonna beat them. And I'm gonna show you all about bar chords, where they come from, how to build them, some easy tips on how to play them, and how to check out more bar chords. Okay, so thank you for joining, and let's get into it. Yeah, so first thing you need to know about bar chords, first thing you need to know when learning about bar chords is you need to know the musical alphabet. Okay, so musical alphabet is super important, and how it's laid out on a piano keyboard. And if you know this, and if you understand this, you know everything about music. You know everything about Western music, and that's all that you need to know. All right? Okay, so let me explain. So here we have a piano keyboard, which everyone's probably seen and is familiar with. So the first note there is C, then we have a D, an E, an F, G, A, B, C. That's an octave, like one octave. And then the notes repeat again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And it keeps going off into infinity. Okay? Well, the big thing we want to learn here is we want to learn about what's called a half step and a whole step. Okay? And that's why we're looking at this. So a half step is every note that you move on the piano. So if I go from C, the white key, the C, and move up to the black key, that's a half step. If I move from the black key to the white key, the D, that's a half step. D to the next black key is a half step. Black key down to E is a half step. But now look at this. So there's usually a black key in between, okay? And then E to F, there's no black key, it's just the next note over, and that's a half step, okay? F to G, we're going through that black key, so two half steps makes a whole step. G to A, we got through the black key, it's another whole step. A to B, another whole step through the black key. B to C, there's no black key there, so that's just a half step, okay? So a half step is just going to the next note over. A whole step is two half steps, basically, okay? It's really simple stuff. Okay, so that's why we want to refer back to this while we're getting into it here, okay? So bear with me. Okay, so first thing you want to know when you're learning about bar chords, you want to know the notes along the low E string. Super important, okay? So you just want to understand the notes and be able to name the notes along the low E string and know where they come from, in order to get us going on our journey, bar chord journey. Okay, so we have, let's do it. So we have an open E chord, or open E string. This is open E. Now, where is the next note and what is the next note? Okay, I know I've given them to you here, but we're gonna find out how to do it ourselves. So we have an open E string. Where's E on the piano? You see E on the piano? What's the next note? After E is F. Now, is there a black key between E and F? No, it's just a half step. From E to F is a half step. What does a half step look like on the guitar? A half step on the guitar is just the next note over. Okay, so if I'm on the 3rd fret, a half step up from this note would be just the next fret, the 4th fret. Okay, 3rd fret to 4th fret is a half step. Now, what does a whole step look like on guitar? Well, I go 3rd fret, do a half step, and another half step brings us up here. So a whole step is two half steps. So lots of steps here. So 3rd fret to 5th fret would be a whole step, okay? Because I went to two half steps, make a whole. Okay, so that's really important. All right, so now E, we said E, we have open E. And then F is the next note, and we said it was a half step because we're not doing through a black key. It's just the next note over. So E to F, we would just go right here, and that would be the half step because it's the next fret. Okay. Okay, so that's our F note. That's why I'm saying this is F here. I hope I don't confuse anybody. Okay, and then the next note, let's look on the piano. What's after F? The next note after F is G. And is it a half step or a whole step? There's a half step to the black key and another half step to the G, so that's a whole step. So a whole step on the guitar looks like from F, half step, whole step. Okay, so F to G. There's G right there. Now what's the next note? Next note is A, and that's 2 half steps, because black key to A. So 2 half steps, half step, half step. So B would be right here. Okay, let's check. Yeah, so A is right here. So A is in the 5th fret. Now the next note, A to B, we got a black key here, so 2 half steps. So B would be, skip a fret, B would be right there. I don't have fret markings on my guitar, but there you go. Okay, there's the B note. Now look at this, B to C, there's no black key. B to C is a half step. So it would be the next fret up, next fret over. Let's check our graph. Yeah, B to C, half step. Just the next fret. And then B to C, C to D is a whole step, so we skip a fret because we have that 2 half steps with the black key. And then let's check D there. And then E after D. D next is E. We skip a fret because it's a whole step. There it is. And E is right there. And E is at the 12th fret. That's why there's 2 dots there, because it tells you that it's an octave. It's the next octave. So open E to E is an octave apart. And that's why it's the 12th fret, 2 dots. Okay, so now you know the notes along the low E string. So it's E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And super important to know that your half steps are between E and F. Those are half steps. And B and C are half steps. Okay, so that's super important to memorize. Now you need to know the notes along the A string, the low A string. Okay, so same method of thinking. So we start with our, let's do it. Let's do it together. So start with your open A string. Okay, A to B. What's next? I gotta show you this. Okay, so back to the piano. A to B is the next note. That's a whole step. So, okay, it's there. We skip a fret. So we skip that fret to B. B to C is our half step, so we only move 1 fret. There's C. C to D is a whole step. D to E is a whole step. E to F is a half step, so we move to the next note. F to G is a whole step. G to A is a whole step. And we're good. We're stopping at A because that's the octave. Okay. So let's check if we were right. Check your work. Are you right? Is it correct? Yes, you did a great job. Good job. Okay. So now you know the notes along the low E string and the low A string, and we use the piano to visualize it with whole steps and half steps. Half steps are between E and F and B and C. Whole step on the guitar is skip a fret. Half step on the guitar is the next fret. Okay, that's super important. All that wrapped up there for you. Now we are ready to tackle the bar chords. So we understand how they're going to work with learning these notes along these strings. So the first family of bar chords that we're going to look at are the bar chords that have their root note along the low E string. Okay, and that just so happens to be this type of shape. The E shape on the guitar. Okay, so can you guys hear me okay? I didn't check my mic. I hope you can hear me. Andrea, are you here? Can you hear me? Is my mic okay? Okay. All right. So notes along the E string. Bar chords with notes along the low E string. So we have the E chord. Now, this is really cool. This blew my mind when I was learning this. This really opened up the guitar for me and helped me understand how it works, okay? So we're gonna take the E chord, but now, instead of playing it normally, like this, we're not gonna do anything normal here tonight. We're gonna switch our fingers and play it with these fingers now, okay? So it's the same chord. Same chord. I only just switched my fingers. I went from that to that. Now you can see where this is heading, right? So now I got the E chord. What if I replace the nut here with my finger and slid this shape up? What if I went from E and slid it up 1 fret, a half step, E to F, and replace my bar there? What? That is now the F chord. Isn't that crazy? So I went from this E shape. No, okay, I went from normal E and played with my my bottom fingers, 3rd, 4th, and 5th finger. 3rd, 4th, yeah. And then I just slid the whole thing up with our piano theory there, and went to slid it up 1 fret, so it's a half step. So technically it would be F. That's the F chord. Isn't that crazy? And my root, whatever note this finger is on, tells me the name of the bar chord. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so that's the F chord. Now F to G is a whole step on the piano. We saw that already. I'm not going to go back. So let's slide it up. F to G is 2 half steps, whole step. So there's my G bar chord. Isn't that revolutionary? Now I'm going to take that shape, slide it up. So G to A is a whole step, so skip a fret. There's my A bar chord. Okay, and then A to B is a whole step on the piano, because we saw that already. So I'm going to skip a fret. There's my B bar chord. B to C is a half step, right there. There's the C bar chord, and skip a fret. C to D, that's a whole step, skip a fret. Like there. That's the D bar chord, yeah. So a little tip with playing bar chords. You don't just want to take the thing and just plunk it down, because the strings will kind of get caught in your joints and not be pressed down properly. I kind of roll my hand back a bit so that I'm sort of pressing on the side of my finger. I kind of roll it back a bit, and it's easier. You get an easier grip on it that way. But let me tell you, it's going to hurt, and this muscle here is going to be paining. It's going to hurt. You're going to be in pain. Try to get a guitar where the strings are close to the fretboard and it's a lot easier to press down. I still find bar chords uncomfortable. Okay, so it's just something that you're just always working on. Okay, so now we know those bar chords using the E shape. Watch this. This is really cool. Super cool. What if I play E minor and change them into bar chords? We're going to bar chorify them. Okay, so play E minor. But now I'm going to use the... Oh yeah, let me show you. I got a thing to show you first though. I just want to show you that E shape there. So there's the E bar chord, and there's the E proper E shape. So that's what I was playing on the guitar. Okay. All right. So now what if I played E minor? So E, normal E chord. Take your finger off, you got E minor, right? But now let's play the E minor with these 2 fingers, your 4th and 5th finger. 3rd and 4th finger. What if we played it like that? Now we got those 2 fingers there, and then we're going to use this finger and we're going to slide it up to here. Half step to the F chord, but now instead of F, it's F minor. There, we just played an F minor chord. Isn't that cool? Now we're going to slide up a whole step to G. G minor. Now I'm going to take it, slide up a whole step again, A minor. A to B is a whole step, B minor. There's B minor. And C minor. You can use this other finger to help push down. I always do that. I always kind of like push down with that other finger too. So you get double the pressure going there now. And you can always do it. You can always do it like this too. Like instead of pushing, like go to G here or A minor. Okay. Like that's kind of uncomfortable. I don't like it. So I can drop down and do that. It's kind of cheating. That's not really the bar chord anymore. But we're talking bar chords. So get that finger up there. That's a lesson for another day. So here's our A minor shape. This is our minor bar chord shape. Okay. So we took a minor chord and just slid it up. You can just slide all these chords up and form bar chords. Super cool. Okay, so that's So that's your bar chords based off of your E major shape. Took the E chord, changed these fingers, slid it up, and then we did it with the minor as well. And your root is always along the low E string. So if I play here, this is my root note. What note is that? F, G, A. It's an A note, so that's my A bar chord. Root note is here, B, that's my B bar chord. Root note is here, G, G bar chord. Okay. Now we want to do bar chords based along the low A string. We have 5 minutes left here. Okay, so we know the notes along the low A string. So here's our A chord. Everyone knows the A chord. We're just going to play it normally though, not that cool, different way. So just play the A chord like this. So just like this. So A chord. But now instead of playing it like that, we're going to use these bottom fingers, our second, third, and fourth finger, like that. And that frees up this hand to be a bar, to form the bar. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to slide it up. Now this is a bit easier because you don't have to play that low E string. You can just bar from the 5 down, 5th string down. So it's not as hard because you're not pushing every single string. So if I go from A to B is a whole step. So skip a fret, put me right there. B to C is a half step, so I just move up 1 fret. C to D is a whole step, so skip a fret. D to E, skip a fret. E to F is a half step, so I just go to the next fret. F to G, skip a fret. Some people play them like this. If you're John Frusciante, you play them like this. I can't tend to, like I can't bend my finger back, so I can't really do them like that. I mean, I do them a little bit like that, but I can't get the high E string. So I tend to play them like this. Okay, so that's the bar chord based off the A major shape. Now, here's another picture for you. Another picture for you. So there's the A slid up. So that would be a C bar chord because it's on the 3rd fret. Okay, now you can do the minor for this as well. The minor shapes. Okay, so let's start with, so A is normal. A minor, play an A minor. Everyone knows A minor. It's like E, only drop down. Now I'm going to play A minor. Instead of using these fingers, I'm going to play with these bottom fingers. So my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. A minor, and I'm just going to slide that up. A to B, there's my B minor chord. Isn't that cool? Because that's my B minor root note. That's my B root note right there. And you don't have to play the low E string. Okay, so I'm just playing from here down. So that's my B root note. Slide that up. B to C is a half step. So right there. C to D is a whole step. So there's my D minor chord. D to E is a whole step. E minor chord. That's a popular one. I use that quite a bit. Okay, E minor. E to F is a half step. There's my F minor chord. F to G is a whole step. So it's right there. Skip a fret. G minor chord. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. That was a bit of a technical lesson because we had to get all the notes along the low E and the low A string. It was a bit technical with the piano and stuff. And then I was sliding everything up, counting frets and stuff. It was a bit technical. But I just want to show you where bar chords come from and the theory behind it. It's just about sliding these shapes up and putting your finger there as the nut. Like your finger becomes that, the nut, okay? And then you can just slide these shapes up. And that's how you think about it, which is really cool. So you can also take other chords and slide them up. Like here's an E7 chord, right? Play with these 2 fingers. E7, slide it up to the 3rd fret. There's my root. It becomes a G7 chord. A7 chord. Isn't that cool? And then my 7th chord on the A string, there's A7. Play it with these 2 fingers, your 3rd and 4th finger. Slide it up to here. That becomes a B7 chord. Okay, right? Because it's A to B is a whole step. B7. there's a D, D7. Super cool stuff, guys. Super cool stuff. Like it just opened the guitar up for me, kind of revolutionized my thinking about how the guitar works. And it's just get your head around it. You can go back and review and just go through it again. Really important to understand this fundamental stuff. Kind of tells you how the guitar works and helps you understand where bar chords come from just by sliding up chords. Okay, I hope I didn't ramble too much, and I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, please message me, leave a comment, and I'd love to help you out, love to talk to you. And yeah, we will see you next week in our next lesson. Thanks for joining, guys. See you soon.